Mario Rom hacks are popular from all over the internet and all over the history of video games. From Kaizo Mario World to newer Super Mario Bros. Wii, most of these ROM hacks are created to add things to the games that people love. So why don't we just add a character to the game? You ever wanted to play Super Mario Bros? Well, how about Super Wario Bros? In this ROM hack, you play as Wario. Yeah, that's it. Look, this is one of those classic character swap ROM hacks. There are so many ROM hacks out in the world, really for any game, that will just swap the main character to any other character to just make the game slightly more interesting. Of course, it's a lot harder with the original Super Mario Bros., but can't you tell that's Wario? Holy crap, this is where things get interesting. This is pretty much exactly the same as the Wario mod, except it's Sonic the Hedgehog inside Super Mario World. I had to find this hack on some random Flash Games website, so that's how you know this one's gonna be good. But there's nothing different about this ROM hack, it's literally just Sonic in Super Mario World. There's gotta be something more interesting than this.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
This is where things get more interesting. Now, I know today I'm only supposed to be talking about Mario ROM hacks, but putting Mario characters in Sonic counts, right? This ROM hack is Super Mario Bros. Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog, and you know what? This is kind of fun. It's not the best ROM hack in the world, that's what's next, but this is certainly an interesting way to experience the first Sonic the Hedgehog. It's kind of the opposite to the bootleg game Samari, which is Mario in Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's on the NES, which I guess is a little bit more interesting. But the more interesting ROM hack is Yoshi in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and my god, this is the greatest ROM hack for a Sonic game I think I've ever played. So you know Yoshi's Island, right? Well, imagine those controls put into Sonic the Hedgehog 2 to create quite possibly the most interesting way to play a Sonic the Hedgehog game. All the controls from Yoshi's Island are in this hack of Sonic 2. The whole bubble mechanic from the original game is still here, but it's slightly different. Instead of the whole running out of time seen in Yoshi's Island, rings are thrown out of the bubble, with you needing to collect rings in order to make sure baby Sonic can stay in the bubble as much as possible. This also means you can swallow all the enemies to give yourselves eggs, and use those eggs to throw them and kill other things, or do whatever. You also have a ground pound, which is the way you get the TVs with the rings and power-ups in it. It just makes this game such a unique way to combine all of these elements into one big game. To beat the first boss, you of course need a ground pound on Eggman, but the chemical plant boss is where things get a hell of a lot more interesting. Instead of just jumping up and hitting Eggman, you need to swallow the enemy that it plops out, turn it into an egg, and throw it at the boss. This made this boss so much more interesting than just jumping and hitting Eggman. It's such a cool way to do this.
And that's the great thing about ROM hacks. But you can be a lot more creative than just adding a silly little character to the game. And one of the most popular games to do it with is
Super Mario 64, one of the most popular games for the Nintendo 64. A launch title for the Nintendo 64 alongside Pilot Wings 64, and one of the most modded games ever created. I mean, look at this game. This game is full of so much life, but there could be so much more to add. Just like how the ROM hacker K's created a ROM hack known as Super Mario 64 Land. A spin on Super Mario 3D Land and World for the 3DS and Wii U, but translated onto the Nintendo 64 in the best way possible. I didn't have a lot of time to play this game, with the game having a whole tutorial stage that mainly focuses on the tricks that you can do in Super Mario 64.
which I'm not very good at.
But the actual levels and the world map, they're just incredible. It really shows how Super Mario 64 can shine if done correctly. Not that the original version of Super Mario 64 doesn't shine, and luckily we get to see more of Super Mario 64 shine with Super Mario Bros. 64. Super Mario Bros. 64 is another hack done by K's that just brings Super Mario Bros. For the NES over to the Super Mario 64 engine. The graphics are the same, the jumps are higher, and most pipes don't work, but it's exactly what you think when you hear Super Mario Bros. 64. You can actually play as 4 different characters: Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi. However, when I tried Waluigi, the textures kinda broke, but that's probably my fault. Mario is the hard difficulty, with each character being a different difficulty. But other than all of that, Super Mario Bros. 64 is certainly a way to experience the original Super Mario Bros., but you're most likely better off playing the game for the original NES or the Famicom. But if you really want to play this version, I don't know, do it, I'm not in charge of you. Speaking of Super Mario Bros., the original actually has its own ROM hacks too! Back in the 1980s, Nintendo teamed up with Fuji Television to create All Night Nippon Super Mario Bros. For the Famicom disk system to bring the hosts of the radio show All Night Nippon into the Mario universe. This game happens to actually just be a ROM hack for Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and brings back some of the original Super Mario Bros. Levels alongside some from Versus Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. This game is pretty identical to Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and Versus, and is basically just a mashup of all three games, but it also replaces a lot of the enemies in the game with the hosts of All Night Nippon. A pretty basic ROM hack, but an interesting one for sure. Around this same time, an original game based off of Super Mario Bros. Was being developed by Hudson Soft for Japanese home computers that went by the name of Super Mario Bros. Special. Sometimes it's confused for being a port of the original, which to be fair, it started development as a port of the original, but as development went on, it became something completely different. It just happened to look the same and use the same graphics. But due to it being on a home computer, the game was slow and it sucked.
Look, the original game was not made for home computers. It uses the power of the NES, so it's not going to be that great. It's just not powerful enough.
But then one day, 30 years after the original came out, a ROM hack for the original Super Mario Bros. Known as the 30th anniversary version of Super Mario Bros. Special released, and it's quite possibly the best way to play this game today. The ROM hack fixes the scrolling and a lot of other issues in the game to truly make the 5th alternate version of Super Mario Bros. Playable once again. This is actually the version I tried when I talked about it back in November 2023, and it was just so much fun. The new power-ups added to the original game and the levels and so much more, they're just fantastic. I would never recommend the original version of the game, but if you really want to try Super Mario Bros. Special, I definitely recommend the 30th anniversary ROM hack. Super Mario 64 Star Road. One of the most popular Mario ROM hacks ever created. It's well known for being the ultimate Mario ROM hack, also coming from the Mario ROM hacker K's, and it's one of his first ROM hacks that he's ever made. This ROM hack combines elements from the newer Mario games, like literally having the music from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, but combining it with the style and gameplay of Super Mario 64. And my god, this is incredible. I had trouble setting the game up with the popular emulator Project 64, but once I eventually got it set up, it worked so well. Like, of course, I did find the levels slightly difficult. I really only played the first one and kept failing at the parkour that was found in the first level, and the boss was just the same boss from the original Super Mario 64. But faster, but I still liked it. Super Mario 64 Star Road is one of those classic mods that is clearly meant to be a sequel to the original game made by a fan, as there was never a direct sequel to Super Mario 64, going straight into Super Mario Sunshine. But Star Road definitely helps scratch that itch for having a Super Mario 64 sequel. How fun!
Have you ever wanted to play a ridiculously difficult Mario game? Well, ROM hackers have you covered.
Kaizo Mario World is one of the hardest ROM hacks I have ever played. I couldn't even get past the first level. Kaizo is a term to describe levels that are insanely hard that really don't need to exist. And this term started with this very ROM hack. It's a Japanese ROM hack that came out in 2007, and it honestly changed ROM hacking forever. Kaizo Mario World was certainly not the first hard ROM hack for Super Mario World, but it is truly the most iconic one ever created. People use the term Kaizo to describe any hard ROM hack ever created, like some ones that they've made for earlier Mario games or ones that they've made for newer Mario games, and they also use it to describe the hard levels in Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2. These levels are always straight up impossible for the normal player, but to experts on the physics of Super Mario World, this is their bread and butter. However, Kaizo Mario World was not the only ROM hack to come out of this Japanese creator. There was also Kaizo Mario World 2.
You've gotta be kidding me!
This game is more of the same, just with a different world map, but the levels are just as hard as ever, and that's not even bringing up Kaizo Mario World 3. Yes, there's a third one, which is harder again. I'm so sick of... Oh dang. Baby Kaizo World is literally the same as the other Kaizo games, but instead of throwing you straight into it, it actually tries to teach you how to play Kaizo levels. Look, this game was really fun, but I'm just not good at Kaizo, and I've learned to accept it, dang it! If you're looking for something more basic, then check out... Oh god, please no. Return to Dinosaur Land, such a fantastic semi-sequel to Super Mario World. Obviously the real sequel to Super Mario World according to Nintendo is Yoshi's Island, but this game truly tries to bring back what was so fantastic about the original version of Super Mario World. This ROM hack is world renowned for being really good, but do you want to know what I think? Oh, do ya? It's kinda stupid. Look, what this ROM hack is basically just the original levels from Super Mario World but remade. But there's some of the most stupid puzzles I've ever seen. You know how in Super Mario World there's some levels that have multiple exits just to be funny? There's at least one of these in every single world in the game, and they're all extremely hidden alternate exits. I hate this so much! For World 1, you need to complete level 3, then complete level 4, then make sure you have a cape, then go back to level 3, hope you don't lose said cape, as there's no possible way to get a cape in level 3. But then if you fail, you go back to level 4, discover an infinite 1-up glitch, get a cape, complete the level, go back to level 3, and repeat over and over again until you finally manage to get the key in the hole in level 3. And then World 2 just does the same thing. I don't even know where the secret exit is! What the hell? Who designed this game?
Which is why I introduced the Return to Dinosaur Island helpline! Looks like we got our first caller! Hello?
Hey, how do you complete the secret in World 2-3?
Well, that's pretty simple.
What you're gonna do is play the level normally, go to the first ghost house, be confused as to why it's so easy, go back to 2-3, play the level over again, watch a YouTube tutorial and find out you need to use the awful Lakitu controls to fly under the goal, then get a key and complete the level normally.
Got it?
Mario is missing. Done right. Remember Mario is Missing back on the NES, SNES, and MS-DOS? It's an educational game made to teach you about the world as Luigi. It's the very first game where Luigi is the central character, but it's also kinda bad. Mario is Missing done right is a ROM hack for Super Mario World that turns this game into a platformer game. It's one of the best ways of translating a game that really wasn't that good into a game that's just a fantastic representation of what if Mario was actually missing. I didn't get to play this one much, but I really think this game works and just damn well. Of course, you have the physics of Luigi, to the point where I'm pretty sure it was broken as his physics weren't built into the original version of Super Mario World. But I think they did as well as they could possibly do. The levels also use Super Mario Bros. 3 graphics for some reason. Even though it's a ROM hack for Super Mario World, I think it's pretty cool, but it's just a strange addition. Most of the levels are your basic Mario levels. It's really not that different for a Mario game. And of course, the ROM hack doesn't have any of the educational stuff from the original game. I really think this is a ROM hack that you should check out. New Super Mario Bros., a series well known for being generic after the first game on the DS. I personally quite like all of the games except for New Super Mario Bros. U, they're kind of a guilty pleasure. But have you ever wanted to combine Super Mario Bros. 2, specifically the advanced version of Super Mario Bros. 2, into the New Super Mario series? Oh, no? Well, New Super Mario Advance is just Mario 2. There's not that much to talk about. The castle is mostly original until the boss fight, which is exactly the same as the new Super Mario Bros. Boss fight, but it's just basically a remixed Super Mario Bros. 2 that happens to run in the new Super Mario Bros. Engine because someone was really bored one day. But when we move over to the next new Super game, we'll get to see one of my favorite Mario ROM hacks ever created. Newer Super Mario Bros. Wii, a modded sequel for New Super Mario Bros. Wii, adds some of the best things I have ever seen into New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This ROM hack is clearly inspired by Super Mario World and even took a few elements from Super Mario Galaxy, and put it into a semi-modern 2D Mario game, along with fantastic music and fantastic new graphics. But it created what I would consider to be the best Mario ROM hack ever created, and the best one I've ever played.
Newer Super Mario Bros. Wii is just such a classic. I love that damn thing. Looks like we got another caller. Hello.
Hey, how do you complete, World 2, Level 4? How do you complete that one?
The ghost house?
Yeah, that one.
Pretend you're playing the other ghost house by jumping on invisible blocks.
Can I go back to talking about newer Super Mario Bros. Wii now?
Wait, what?
I remember playing this game back on my Wii using the Wii Evolution channel that you would get after hacking a Wii. And because at the time I only had borrowed New Super Mario Bros. Wii from a video store like Blockbuster, I'd have to borrow the game over and over again so I could play newer Super Mario Bros. Wii because I loved it so much. Each world being connected, everything about it is just incredible. The transition between World 2 and World 3 being right next to each other, I think it's just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Every single thing about newer Super Mario Bros. Wii just fits so well. The level designs are a lot more unique compared to the new Super Wii game. The world map is more interesting. Every single thing about the game is just so good. I really think if I took the time to complete the entire game, I'd fall in love with it even more.
And look, I didn't get to cover some of the most iconic Mario ROM hacks today. But maybe we could do that some other time. So if you want to tell me what ROM hacks I should try, I'd really appreciate that. So hi, I'm Charlie, I'm back, and it looks like we've got another annoying caller. Hello?
How do you beat the secret exit in World 3-4?
I don't know, figure it out yourself.
Screw you, His Mario.
His Mario. That's a weird name. Yellow?
You're fired.
But it's my company!